Alright, what's good everybody? It is your stream host, producer, and potentially co-commentator today, we'll get into that later, Shallon Pretzels. And welcome to Dragon Punch Online number 26. We have officially been running Dragon Punch Online for half a year. 26 weeks of online fighting game goodness. So for those of you who are new to the show that we're running here, Dragon Punch Online is the premier online fighting game tournament series for the Ohio FGC. We run Street Fighter V, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Killer Instinct, Tekken 7, Melty Blood, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and King of Fighters 98. We've had some of these games around for quite a while now, but one thing is tried and true, we always have a Street Fighter V stream. And that's where you guys are tuning in here today. So the first thing I want to run down for you guys is a little bit of a recap of what's been happening over these past 26 weeks, as I thank good old Keston FGC for regaining his monk status. I'm gonna have to update the sub goal real quick. That should do it. All right, and with that, let's have a look at some of our stats. Also, Mr. Ryan Vile, thank you for regaining your monk status. That brings the count up to four subs of our 25 sub goal. So thank you guys very much. We're really pushing to hit 25 subs by the end of this month. Anyway, so over the past 25 DPOs so far, we've seen a number of champions. We've seen some of the best from Columbus, Akron, Cincinnati, and Toledo. And among those names, Akron's own Core Jam holding it down with 9 wins of the previous 25 Dragon Punches. Ultimate Vitality giving us a win for the city of Cincy. Sebman giving us a win for the city of Columbus. Mr. Mistopheles giving us a win for the city of Toledo. And holding down his dominant position as the dictator of Ohio, Mr. One Life to Play Hitman running through the competition with 13 wins in Dragon Punch. This man has single-handedly taken over over 50% of the wins at Dragon Punch, which is absolutely insane. Last time I did this recap show, it's actually kind of interesting to bring this up. Core Jam and Hitman were both tied with 8 wins apiece. But since DPO 20, Hitman, or really just since DPO 18, Hitman's just been on a really strong tear through some of Ohio's best. But with no Hitman in sight as of right now, could we potentially see a new champion? We'll get into today's bracket a little bit later on. As always, a character representation for DPO. It is tied with Akuma for DPO wins. That is technically true. You did technically win with Ed last time, so I'll give you this one. So in terms of character representation, we got an Ed, a Laura, both played by Core Jam, a Jury from Ultimate Vitality, a Birdie from Sebman, a Akuma from Mr. Mistopheles, and a Lord Mabibson. Thanks to Mr. One Life to Play Hitman. As it should be mentioned, Columbus is still holding down the fort in terms of sheer dominance in DPO, and this is not just including Hitman stats, this is also including Sebman as well, since Sebman is also from Toledo, or not Toledo, Columbus, excuse me. So Columbus currently has 56% of the wins of every single DPO that has ever happened, period. But that's enough about our champions. Let's talk about some of our attendees. First of all, new stat that we added to DPO. I went ahead and ranked all of the entry numbers for every single Dragon Punch we've ever done. So now we have an idea of which DPOs have had the most entrants and which DPOs have had the least entrants. So the most entrants that we've ever had at a DPO has been 17 for Street Fighter V. These are just Street Fighter V specific stats. I should clarify that right now. we've had the most entrants at DPO 10. Now, the interesting thing about DPO 10 is currently the only Dragon Punch we actually ran with a prize pool, of which 7 men actually ended up winning that night. The least amount of entrants was actually last week's Dragon Punch 25, with 4 entrants. It was sad times. It was the only time that we have ever actually had to... DPO 25 is the only time in the past 25 weeks of us doing SF5 at Dragon Punch that we have ever had to do a round robin. We've run full brackets every other week, with that one, with last week being the only sole exception. Interesting. If you bring the money, they will come. Yeah, imagine how that works. And yes, we are still waiting to see where DPO 26 ends up on the overall lineup. In terms of overall entry statistics, we got a bunch of numbers. I was literally like fighting to like the very last moment to get like this like most recent up-to-date information for you guys. So some of the information I wanted to address, some of the new things that are here. Obviously, Cleveland's still in the lead for the most amount of top 4s in Dragon Punch, and also leaning for the most amount of times that a person from a specific city has entered DPOs. But I've added a couple of new stats. So, new stat number 1. I went ahead and went through all the entrants, and I went and tracked how many times that each entrant has entered Dragon Punch. From what I've noticed, over just a little bit under over 65% of people who have entered Dragon Punch once have entered it again. So we've only had like 37.8% of people who have entered Dragon Punch online enter just once and then never enter ever again. And this is out of 74 entrants. So everyone else, all 46 of you guys, thank you guys so very much. You guys, like this percentage all the way around here, and I guess this percentage too to an extent. You guys, you keep DPO going. But I also went through and I looked through how many times that each entrant has been on stream. And from what I've noticed is that only about a third of people who have entered Dragon Punch have actually not been on stream. So, odds are, if you enter Dragon Punch, you might get a little bit of a Twitch presence going. So, you might be able to claim your 15, or maybe not 15, but you can claim your 5 minutes of fame by entering good old Dragon Punch. But for the SF5 bracket, you better be in Ohio, because we're very strict about that. So as far as stats go, that's basically like the general round of things. Over the course of the past 25 DPOs, we've only had about 4 bracket resets. We've only had 4. And of those bracket resets, only about 50% of people who have actually reset a bracket at Dragon Punch have actually ended up winning Dragon Punch afterwards. So for the person coming into Grand Finals on the loser side, even if they reset the bracket, historically, they've only had a 50% chance of actually winning the whole tournament. So that was another interesting stat that I noticed. In terms of cities represented across all of the individual entrants, there's still like a huge gray area because I need to like actually identify a bunch of people. But we've continued to see large representations from Cleveland and Akron, especially with, oddly enough, this is actually the first time I've noticed this, Toledo, Columbus, and Cincinnati are actually all tied, which I was not expecting, but that's a good thing to know. Anyway, I am going to check on our commentators channel right now. Let's see. So from the looks of things, we're just about ready to introduce our commentators for today. I see one of them. I'm about to yell at the other for. So as I await for word from a Mr. someone as to whether or not they are going to actually commentate for tonight, I want to go over one last thing. So every single Dragon Punch that we do, we have a little top 4 graphic to kind of denote the various different characters that are represented in general across the entire series of events. These past 6 have been kind of interesting. So Core Jam been experimenting a little bit with the Seth. He managed to get Seth to the 2nd place spot on this graphic. He also got a little bit of Jury, Resident Ultimate Vitality. Always a nice thing to see. And of course we got True God. The Dalsum. Again, Soul Dalsum. True God has not played too many times in Dragon Punch. He's hovering around like 2 or 3 repeated entrances in DPO. Still one of Ohio's best, but not one that we get to see too often. Usually gets top 8 whenever he enters. We got multiple Akumas at DPO 24 because these things happen. Hornet pulling out the Lucia, probably this is the highest that I've ever seen a Lucia make it to Dragon Punch. I believe even with the last time that Hornet entered, he didn't get much further than the 2nd place. And last week we had an Edwin, low tier hero Core Jam, coming to the round robin swinging with the young Psycho Boxer. You love to see it. I knew Core Jam was carried by an Ed. Yeah, big facts. Now the world knows he's carried